Hey kids, you trying to get into Segment City? Well, you really shouldn't, because Segment City is a mature podcast, and listener discretion is advised. I'm just trying to look at... I know I'm in an alleyway. I know how I look, but I got some fireworks for you kids. I got snakes and I got sparklers. That's all I got. Oh, don't give me that.
Well, if I go to all 7 continents, can I start introducing myself as Mr. Worldwide? Can I do that? You know, longtime listeners will know that I'm the king of giving myself nicknames, and they always stick.
It's because you just say it on repeat, and then everyone has to concede.
If I insist that is what I am called, then it works out for me.
It really is just how weak-willed most people are.
Right.
That if you say something on repeat, they just repeat it back to you.
They just repeat it back to me. And everyone recognizes that it's, you know what, just get into the fun. The nicknames, they're all fun. Just come on down. Maybe you'll get a nickname out of it. If you start calling me a nickname, maybe you'll end up with one. That's a pretty good deal.
I enjoy this thought because that implies that Pitbull, he's Mr. Worldwide, has been to Antarctica.
And performed for the Emperor Penguins. Yes, correct. That was also in my mind.
Just him and a bunch of scientists, and he's like, "Sup, how's it going?" And it's like, we're trying to do. Oh no, he's melting all of our snow.
To my house. He says in the Antarctica. He's like, "Where is your house? Where are you staying?"
Just a couple of penguins just flapping their little wings.
I bet the Pitbull actually has been to Antarctica. I feel like when you're that wealthy and and you travel the world and like your profession takes you everywhere, I think on a vacation you're like, what else is there? What else can I do?
No. That's a Theo Sapaco's thought, if I've ever heard one, of you being like, what depths have I not loved?
What worlds are left to conquer?
To conquer, I've seen, I have come, and I've conquered. Eat on that, Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar ain't got shit on me, baby.
If you did do that, I think you could have anyone call you whatever you want, because I think that's expensive to do all that.
Yeah, it is true. The barrier to entry to get to Antarctica is, I mean, anybody can do it. It is just money. Like, you can go if you have the time off and the money, which is asking a lot. But there's nothing like, you don't have to like be physically fit or like take a test. It's like, you can just go.
Because it's just to, I think literally probably what happens is you just get off whatever ship and you step on it and you go, okay, we did it.
Yep.
Like, and then you just get them back on the ship. Like, what? You don't do anything in Antarctica.
Yeah. So the problem with this plan is that I'm actually quite unenthusiastic about going to Antarctica.
Oh, the one problem with this plan, the solo problem with this plan, is
the one problem, but it's for exactly the reason that you said. It's like you get off the boat, you step on the land, you said, we did it. Check box completed. For how many thousands of dollars I just checked that box off, and now I'm going home because it's cold as hell. I understand there's natural beauty, but there's no taquitos. There's no gelato. What am I doing here?
If they had those in Antarctica,
we have those.
That would be something.
Now that's something.
That's something. I do. But going back to your old point, if it is just completionist, it's just a rich person's game.
It is just a rich person's game. That's right.
What else do you do with all that money if you are Mr. Worldwide Pitbull? If you are bored, I think he in particular, I don't think he's that adventurous. He seems like he goes to like Cabo every year.
He also seems like he'd be someone who's pretty easily entertained. I'm getting that vibe from him.
yeah, bro. Because it did make me think of the infamous DJ Khaled live stream where he got caught multiple times on his jet ski.
Of course.
Multiple
I do like the vision that the
come
Pitbull
on,
is
DJ
upset and he's just so easily entertained that someone's like dangling keys and they're like, Pitbull! Pitbull! Okay. He's an actual Pitbull level of enthusiasm.
Well, here in Segment City, we have Mr. Citywide, and he is the city mascot. Not a lot of city mascots out there, but you know what? I think there should be more. I think the guy for Boston would be a guy who just goes,
fuck you.
You come into the city and you just go, fuck you. Hey, get out of here.
We actually already do have a city mascot. It is Donnie Wahlberg, and that is who you're describing.
Get out of here. Because there's the Green Monster. That is a mascot of a sports team, though.
Too friendly.
But I want the biggest, fattest Bostonian man who's ever, he has barely, he's holding on to whatever wisps of hair. It's all but gone to his back and his chest. And he is just mad. He is drinking as much Budweiser and Samuel
He's
Adams
slamming those
can.
in the Cumberland Farms parking lot.
And you know what? I'm his little henchman, Will Kane, and I'm getting him those. I need employment sometimes, and it pays pretty well to just, all I'm doing is ferrying beers to him. So pretty easy.
Pretty easy. And I'm Theo Sapakos, and I'm trying to check off all the boxes of things to do in Segment City. And I'm getting close. You know, I'm trying to completionist, trying to do the full any percent run. So
Yeah, you got to go down to the Pet Tail Museum. It's just tales from pets.
That's true.
It's actually quite sad.
because you got to ask, where's the rest?
Yeah, and then they go, oh, my darling. They actually have the pet owners who work there.
Oh, that's the worst.
This is the worst museum I've ever come up with. This is a terrible idea.
Would you go? That's actually a great idea for a museum. Is a taxidermy museum of real people's pets. I would go to that. Some like famous. They're like, this is Jeff Goldblum's dog.
If it was the famous animal,
famous animal,
Lassie?
yeah.
I would go see Lassie.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna be honest.
That'd be cool.
There would be a lot of dogs, a lot of cats. It does remind me. I have been to a taxidermy museum, which was the Gopher Museum.
That's true.
And that place ruled. It was just little dioramas where they dressed up a little guys. They just had little scenes, and it was 2 rooms, and I loved it. It was in a town with like 9 streets, so like total. So, but before we get to all that stuff, let's describe the podcast, which is we dumpster dive our way through the internet. We get those good comedy morsels for you, and we package them into segments for you. And Theo, we're going to start off with a little game.
Little game?
Not very long game, but I thought of this because I had some friends who said that they bought a house in Saugus. Mm-hmm. And they said, it looks like we're Sagutians now. Sagutians. It's so hard to say. But and then we made comments about how that looks like sausage. So they are just sausagites or something. And so that got me curious. What are some of the names used to describe people from certain towns in Massachusetts specifically? So I'm going to say the town name, and you have to guess what the name of the residents of that town is. So what we're going to start off with Worcester, one of the biggest towns.
I was thinking, is it a Worcesterite?
It is Worcesterite.
Yeah, Worcesterite. I thought I heard that.
Worcesterite. I've also seen Worcestarian.
Worcesterfarian.
Worcestarian
is very good. I like that.
But it was Worcesterian.
Worcesterian.
Yeah. But what about Braintree, which is an odd name if you think about it? A tree of brains.
Braintreer?
Braintreans.
Braintreans.
That one was weird because that's 2 E's.
Braintreans. Yeah, it's like a bean, like a treen. Treen.
Let's go on to this one. This is a trick question. Quincy.
Quinsonian?
No, that'd be great. No, technically, there's no official name.
What? They got to come up with something.
It is just residents of Quincy.
Lame.
Which is lame.
Get good.
Oh, Plymouth.
Oh. This has got to be the Patriots. They got to be Bill Belichick. They're all Bill Belichick right there because of Plymouth Rock. They're going to be the first guys out here.
You know, I love all these Bill Belichickians. It is Plymouthians.
Plymothian? Boo, get them out of here.
Boo, you don't like it? Brockton is Brocktonians.
Brocktonian.
That one was a little too similar, I feel like. Bellrica.
Bellrica is that Bellrica.
Billrica.
Bill Nye. They're all Bill. They're all Bill Nye. I don't know. My brain short circuited when I thought of Bill Nye, and I can't get off of it now.
It's Bellican. Bellicans?
Pelican.
Bellaric.
Like a pelican. Like a pelican.
It has the can at the end. But that brings us to the end. I only had a few just because I wanted to see how this goes. But that was the names are so stupid. I also, in my investigation, I found a website that is for my hometown of Natick, which, for people who don't know, when I was in high school there, they changed the mascot. Speaking of mascots, from to the Red Hawks from the Redmen, which is a racist Native American.
Yeah, good choice to switch off of that.
Yeah, and people apparently were weirder than I thought, because people were already weird, and like, because people would suggest names, and I remember somebody brought up like, oh, what about the Natick Knights? And then somebody was like, well, Knights aren't really part of our history, and I'm like, motherfucker, there are no knights in any American history. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that was before our time. So, like, why are we talking about historical accuracy with this kind of stuff? But I found redmenforever.org, which is somebody's crazy website, because it's the most like HTML5, like basic ass website you could have. Welcome, learn the truth here about the despicable manner in which Natick residents' wishes were ignored and the honored name Redman was trampled under the tyrannical boot of political correctness run amok.
Wow.
It is, and it's also, they have their chairs. They have all passed away. So it is like R.I.P. the co-chair, Jimmy Brown, who died in 2021. So I wonder what he died from. But that kind of makes sense. But you know what? Let's go from these tales of Massachusetts towns to something that's hopefully not Massachusetts based.
Well, I want to get a note in about my New Hampshire hometown mascot for the high school. When I was there, it was the Marauders, which was like
that's fine.
I thought so, and then I just did a quick Google. Apparently, they thought that was too offensive, and so they switched it to the Bears. I don't know. I thought the Marauders was pretty cool. Who knows? I guess that kind of outs me of where I'm from. But hey, New Hampshire, Hanover, New Hampshire pride.
I literally said I'm from Natick, Massachusetts. So like, that is funny because that sounds like how. It sounds like we're talking about the history of like gay terms, like gay names. They went from Marauders to Bears. Back in the day, you know what? I don't think we should have called hairy, large gay men Marauders. That was probably
not good.
Was it a Viking? Sorry,
it's
last question. Was it a Viking?
No, it's like a pirate of some sort.
Oh, that's what
I thought. Okay, I guess it was fine, but
no crimes, not a single crime.
It's also New Hampshire is nowhere like near, like where I live, nowhere near the ocean. I don't know how they arrived at the Marauders.
Yeah. But I can't wait to see maraudersforever.org come up on our program.
The petition to switch it back.
Yeah.
All right. So for my first segment, listen, Will, going through the muck. Through the slop, the trough, baby. We're back. PR Newswire. Every time I got to get in there, I got to clear away their garbage. I got to find the jewels in the filth.
Hello, I'm Janice Smith, and I'm the PR for Shut Up!
Get
out of here!
We don't like you. We don't want to hear you. We want to hear about how Mark Wahlberg announced as keynote speaker for 2025 Restaurant Leadership Conference. Hell yeah, dude!
What the fuck is he gonna know? He is.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm already imagining him getting on stage being like, hey, everyone. How's it going?
How's it going?
You know?
Oh my God. So one time,
Mark Wahlberg.
I saw a Transformer and I thought about, what about Wahlburgers? I could do a product integration right here.
I was eating a hamburger and I thought, what if my name was on the wrapper? And that's how we got to Wahlburgers.
And then I called my brother Donnie and we said, hey, let's go slam some beers.
It's me, Donnie Wahlberg.
Is that Donnie?
Hey, Ducky.
Here we go. This is a quick one because I thought it was hilarious. Phoenix. This is a Phoenix, January 30th, 2025. Renowned actor, producer, entrepreneur, and philanthropist Mark Wahlberg, founder of Fletcher Cantina and co-founder of Wahlburgers, will be the keynote speaker of the 2025 Restaurant Leadership Conference taking place on April 13th to 16th at the JW Marriott Desert Ridge Resort and Spa. What a get. You guys really nailed it. You know, if you go to your top tier industry conference and you're like, I really take my career seriously, and I really value the time I put in here. And then out on the stage comes Mark
Wahlberg.
And he's
hey,
like,
remember me? I had a rap career. I started with a rap career. Remember that?
I sell burgers because people in Boston know my name. That's got to be something, right?
Also, of course, this sounds like the big wigs. Of course, it's still at a fucking Marriott. It's like they can't even.
It's at a Marriott. Of course it is.
It's always at a Marriott.
Wahlberg will share his insight on leadership, innovation, and entrepreneurship as he recounts the 13-year journey of building Wahlburgers alongside his brothers, Paul and Donnie, with his ventures through Fletcher Cantina, a fireside chat at the evening, yada, 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 yada. Okay, next article, because this one was just mostly about the headline.
Okay, it's just making fun of Mark Wahlberg
and
how stupid it is. Yeah.
Next one. Subway teams up with...
Who would they team up with? Somebody that's also low grade. I'm gonna say Hardee's.
Milk's favorite cookie to debut an all-new Oreo foot-long cookie.
That's bad.
That's bad. That's bad. That's not good. That's not good.
Now, foot long does imply that it's not uniform proportions like most Oreos are.
It's not a circle. It is not a foot wide. It is just a foot long.
It's a caterpillar.
Yeah, it is.
Fucking wow. Okay.
Here we go. Subway continues to celebrate another year of keeping it fresh with a first of its kind foot-sized collaboration to create the Oreo foot-long cookie. Since their debut, Americans have enjoyed over 13 million Subway foot-long cookies, quickly making them a fan favorite and inspiring the Oreo cookie collaboration, bringing together the ooey gooey indulgence of a Subway foot-long cookie with the iconic flavors of an Oreo cookie for a one-of-a-kind treat. Now,
they say that if I keep eating the foot-long cookie, the diabetes will take my feet. now that's fine because I have a Subway foot-long to put onto my feet. It'll be my new feet. Will be this nice provolone sub.
Now, if I do the quick math on this, this is saying 13 million foot-long Subways. That implies that about 1 out of every 300 people has consumed a foot-long cookie.
That makes sense.
I would wager that
it's higher.
That the people who eat foot-long cookies are eating most of the foot-long cookies.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? I don't think it's 1 out of every 300. I think it's way fewer than that.
This is when people take statistics and they try to mold them to form different things. But what you're saying, similar to the internet, where somebody has a big outcry, it's not really everybody's about this outcry. Right. It's a small minority that's very vocal. Yeah. So these people you're saying are the, let's just say, the most obese Americans that we have. Probably having these football
cookies. And I did my math wrong. It actually is 1 out of every 30, but 1 out of 300 seems more realistic, which you know, it is.
1 out of 30 still, like if you have 30 customers and only one buys, then they get a foot-long cookie.
What I'm saying to you is, you know for yourself you have never eaten one of these, which means you have to go out on the street and ask 29 other people if they've ever eaten a Subway foot-long cookie. And the statistics say that one of those people is going to say yes.
They're going to say,
one of them is going to say yes. I don't think that's right.
I don't think that's right. I think you're on the ball with this one. You know what's going on.
All right. So here's a quote. Subway worked closely with the Oreo cookie experts to create something that fans of both brands are going to love. The ideal blend of our popular double chocolate cookie with the delicious crunch of their signature cookie and cream filling, said Paul Faber, Senior Vice President, Culinary and Innovation. Culinary and Innovation at Subway, my man, all you did was put cookie in a cookie.
Make subs.
All you did was put cookie in a cookie, and you were like, I'm a god.
You literally put it into Photoshop, and then you just lengthen it out. Like that. That's nothing. Also, never has there been a greater meeting of minds than the food scientists at Subway meeting with the Oreo. Imagine if it was like... like Sharks and Jets, where they just like clash with each other. Where it's like, I don't understand their cookie science. That's not bread. That's a hard cookie. What is this?
What's going on? Here's the best part of the quote. Oreo cookies capture our passion for quality, ingredients, and maximum flavor, making them the ideal partner for Subway's first foot-long cookie collaboration. Now, when I think of Oreo and Subway, I do not think of passion for quality ingredients. I think you're slapping that wet meat on a bun and you're calling it a day. And over on the Oreo side, it's just Nabisco, baby. It's
Oreo
crazy.
is probably one of the more artificial cookies that I can think of.
I mean, it's
like
good. I'm not
sugar. It's delicious, but it is sugar and sugar.
If you've listened to this podcast at all, you know we like Oreo. It's just not what I would say quality ingredients.
Also, Subway. I don't know if you know how you are, but everybody was yelling at you not but a year ago or so about the fact that nobody knew if your tuna fish was real tuna fish.
Shall we remind you about the tuna fish, Subway?
And now they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes, or should I say the giant Oreo cookie that would fit over my eyes.
Over my eyes. As a VR goggle over my eyes. Whoa. I'm in the cookie metaverse. Whoa.
So I just got a vision of you put it on, and you're just in a doctor's office, and they're like, so your charts, it looks terrible. You're only eating Oreo cookies. Oh my God. The diabetes has taken you.
And actually, now that I mention it, the cookie you put over your eyes is fusing to your eyeballs, and you're not going to be able to take it off. This is your new reality. Whoa! If I die in the cookie, do I die in real life?
Oh, 100%. You're going to die from the cookie.
All right, last one. This is a little trifecta, and this is round 3 of 3. Saying yes to an onion ring proposal this Valentine's Day, and Red Robin will replace it with a diamond engagement ring.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's a deal. I'm going there right now.
Here we go. Love is in the air, and Red Robin Gourmet Burgers wants to help one lucky pair of lovebirds pop the question on Valentine's Day. Red Robin invites burger-loving couples to get engaged with one of its fan-favorite golden onion rings for the chance to win a diamond engagement ring of choice valued up to $10,000, along with Red Robin's towering onion rings, quote, for the duration of their engagement.
Okay, so they have to wear an onion ring.
What they're saying
are the rules?
is...
I got to see rules.
The rules are you propose using one of the onion rings, and they say, congratulations, you've won. Here's $10,000 so you can get a diamond engagement ring. And also, by the way, so long as you are engaged, you get free onion rings.
Oh, okay. I thought it was they have to wear the onion ring until they get married.
That would be buck wild because Red Robin would be outing themselves as, hey, these things are not natural. This can just survive forever
in room temperature. Yeah, they don't degrade.
I think this is hilarious because they're basically saying, listen, you can propose, but you benefit by not getting married.
you can get some onion rings for a long time, actually.
And I did see that on this quote, there is, for the duration of their engagement, asterisk.
Yep. Up to 3 months.
Provided as one Red Robin gift card in the amount of $180.
Oh my God.
That's not that much. I feel like that's like, you got to get married within like the next 3 months. Yeah, because it depends on how many onion rings you're eating, but you got to get married fast for that to be the duration of your engagement.
Now, I as I just said, I think I would have had the asterisk be like within 3 months. I like that this was obviously a boardroom meeting that they had where they're like, it can't be infinite. Like, we gotta have a stipulation. They're like, how about we just give them a gift card? And then they went, perfect. That's how we'll do it.
Also, they could spring $10,000 for a diamond, but they couldn't provide a little more than $180. Like, dude,
this is one of those times that I'm like, I'm not even sure if you would get the diamond ring, or it's honestly probably one person just so they could have the press release. Like, this is probably their budget for. Like they set aside this amount of money. I don't think they're doing it for multiple people, are they?
No, this is just once. And also, this is the kind of shit where you hear like you get food for a lifetime, like a lifetime membership. I hate this thing where they sub that in for $1 value. What I want them to do is print me out a one of one credit card that just says, "This man gets onion rings."
It has an onion ring on it.
It has an onion ring card, and
my name.
They have a company-wide training where they say, if you see this card, you have to give this person onion rings. And they take time to train all of their employees to recognize the onion card and build a mythos about it.
If you were just on some little dinky quiz that they make you do after looking at the company policies or whatever, where it's like,
what is this?
Well, make sure that you close down every location. And also, what is the name of the man who gets infinite onion rings? And then it's like multiple names. And then there's one name that's just off from your name, just barely
and
off, where it's like, and it's like, Teddy, some tacos. They're just like, is that right? I don't like though.
I want to really imagine that I could be going in there once a day, picking up my onion rings and having a ball. But here's a quote about it. Okay. Red Robin fans love our towering onion rings, so we decided to turn that love into something more permanent for a pair of lovebirds this Valentine's Day, said J.G. Hart, president and CEO of Red Robin. With many couples choosing to select their engagement rings together, what better way to say I do than with an onion ring followed by the excitement of picking out your forever ring together? And he doesn't mention here it's one. He does mention it's one couple. So imagine being the second couple. That's the way you're supposed to. You don't even get a ring. You just get an onion ring. That's it.
It does remind me of when Game of Thrones was out and there was things of like, name your baby Daenerys. And I wonder if there are ever baby Daenerys that didn't get the prize or whatever. They're just left with that. Yeah.
No.
I do love that they're also like, so we will rise this Tower of Babel, but like the arrogance of the Tower of Babel, it will fall. It will fall in a big, delicious heap.
Here's some fine print for you. The proposal must be a first-time proposal between two single individuals resulting in an engagement.
They know. I love that they're thinking of every single edge case.
Are
this
absolutely,
is programming.
The lawyers are out and they are saying people will get divorced and remarried for this.
And they're remarried? Yeah. I just imagine the crustiest couple going to Hardee's being like, yeah, we technically got divorced, but I think we're the rebound. Oh, man.
A second asterisk, offer valid, dine-in only at participating locations from February 13th to 16th, 2025. Simply mention, quote, Lovebird combo to your server to redeem. Hey, psst, Lovebird combo.
And then like, and the employee is like, do you want to kiss me? And no, it's a secret menu.
Proposing to me?
That's another thing I've thought about is if you assume that a place has a secret menu, but the person who's serving you doesn't know about the secret menu. I wonder how those interactions go. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
If you just be like, can I get a jellyfish on the rocks? And they're like, what the fuck?
What are you talking about? Yeah, you know.
Stroke?
You know.
Some good old gumbo. And you have to say it that way or else they don't get it right. Good old gumbo.
You have to say it just like that.
Yeah. If you say good old gumbo, they're like, no. But if you say good old gumbo.
Oh, you're our 100th good old gumbo today. You've won.
And you've got a $10,000 ring in your gumbo. So make sure you don't eat it.
Watch out. Well, I hope your next segment has just as much good old gumbo.
Oh, I mean, that's a pretty decent transition because we're going through the slop. But it's not PR Newswire this time. We are going to, well, we have two websites, one in support of the other, but the supporting article is from thetakeout.com. And this first
Strong like bull. Stronger than ever.
Back and forth. The dichotomy of man of do I love the takeout? Do I hate the takeout? But this first article is from NBC News, and it is recent from January 17th, 2025. Progresso launches Soup Drops, a hard candy that's soup you can suck on. Hey, what the fuck? Progresso, Did Willy Wonka take over the fucking Progresso company? Like, because that's a Willy Wonka idea for sure.
Have you ever been eating a 3-bean soup and thought, I wish this was hard and room temp?
I wish I could just get that room temperature soup in my mouth. Really,
get that. Thanks.
It could really soak into my saliva too. Progresso is celebrating National Soup Month by reimagining a classic comfort food as a hard candy called Soup Drops. The company this week.
Hold on. I love that we go straight from National Soup Month straight into Black History Month.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got that elevated. I don't know how they got it to that level. That's insane.
There's a lot. Listen, if you looked at the list of all the days that are official days, we probably had like Labradoodle Day with like today or some shit. The company this week launched its first ever soup you can suck on, a savory lozenge that captures the taste of Progresso traditional chicken noodle soup. Designed as a portable alternative to a classic meal, the drop comes packaged in a can modeled after Progresso soup cans and contains 20 individually wrapped candies.
What's the sodium count on these candies? Because when I think of Progresso, I think about the so long the rest of my salt for the week. R.I.P. my taste buds.
Well, we'll figure that out when we get to the takeout article that is about how it tastes.
Amazing.
So, but they say each drop has flavors of broth, chicken, vegetables, soft egg noodles, and a hint of parsley.
Just the hint.
Quote, when you're sick, nothing is truly more reassuring than chicken noodle soup. MC Cummings. His name's MC Cummings. What?
Yeah.
MC Cummings.
Our last guy was named J.G. Hart.
That's even more old money. Hi, I'm J.G. Hart. I'm here to sell a player piano door to door. MC Cummings, VP, Business Unit Director for Progresso at General Mills, explained in a press release on Thursday. So, we thought, why stop at the soup bowl? We took the beloved flavors of our progressive chicken noodle soup and packed them into a fun, savory candy soup drop for a totally new way to enjoy the taste you love whenever and wherever you want.
Stop saying soup drop like it's a thing. Stop saying that. It's not a thing.
There is a soup called an egg drop soup.
Yes,
that
but you can't just say we combine them into a soup drop. I don't know what a soup drop is.
Soup drop. Now, here's the thing. They don't say in this article whether it helps with like dry throat or what, like
probably not.
Sore throat. The soup drops are limited edition and will be available starting January 16th exclusively at progressosoupdrops.com. So if by the time this comes out, it might not be available. Each order is accompanied with a can of actual Progresso traditional chicken noodle soup. So the drops are sold. Though the drops sold out as of Friday, the company said they will have restocks on the drops every Thursday for the remainder of National Soup Month while supplies last.
I will say, I just Googled a picture of this. It does just look like a soup can full of Werthers, which is really weird.
It is.
It's very strange.
I was going to get to that. In the takeout article, they have a picture of it. It looks like it's full of bad sardines. Because the guy has like it half open and you look at it and I'm like, ugh. It's like also a weird yellow flavor. But now we go to the takeout. I'd rather be sick than eat Progresso soup drops ever again, says Dennis Lee.
Dennis Lee, really the champion amongst us.
We've definitely had, because he's going to reference some other articles that he did. I'm like, we've 100% covered this guy before.
100%.
The canned soup brand Progresso has released a limited time and somewhat incredulous product today, right in the middle of cold and flu season. Soup drops. Soup drops are, well, a suckable form of chicken noodle soup, sans chunks, thank God, in soup and in cough drop format. No, the company did not somehow decide to speed up the clock and flip the calendar to April Fool's Day. And also, no, I'm not making this up. I know this because I'm sitting here with a container of them on my countertop.
I'm just thinking that Progresso fails to mention that if you were just to pour soup into an ice cube mold,
yeah,
you got homemade soup drops, baby.
Listen, I've done that. I've frozen soup broth.
Yeah,
like that's a classic thing, and you can do like I don't necessarily know if I did the ice cube thing, but I've seen people do the ice cube little bouillon, like maybe they make a little something. I love when the takeout kind of gets like weird and meta and a little bit cynical, because I ask this every day, quote, how did I end up here, you may ask? Well, I've been at the takeout for a long time, and I've developed a certain tolerance for eating questionable foods. See this clamonaise, for example.
We talked about that.
As soon as we found out that these soup drops, I volunteered myself for the taste test. Eating the entire decade's menu at Taco Bell is one thing, but I do appreciate a varied diet. One that also consists of packaged goods whose very existence I've questioned in the past, such as Hidden Rally Ranch ice cream, which we've also covered, and Arby's vodka, which I don't know.
I don't think we've talked about that.
We've talked about a lot of different like wines from like Pizza Hut and stuff. We talked about Arby's vodka. Is there any story really?
Sounds weird. Sounds very
Want to
weird.
get fucked up at Arby's? Have a vodka.
Like,
Why wait to get home? Get fucked up here.
listen, vodka matches everything, even Arby's food. Progresso sent me a media preview kit, which included a package of them, and despite getting freebies for my job now and then, I'm not sure whose opinion can be bought. I'm not one whose opinion can be bought unless it's for maybe like $5 and change in a ride to Arby's. But I couldn't quite get my mind wrapped around this idea of a savory cough drop. Would it be more sweet than salty and just mildly flavored chicken noodle soup aromatics? Or would this herald in a new era of salty, hard, cold relief drops that could change the lozenge game forever?
Disrupting the lozenge market.
The lozenge market. Like we said, it looks like a can of soup. It has a pull tab, and the tagline "Soup you could suck on" is hilarious too. I hate to admit it.
Suck on my soup, baby.
But the entire thing is pretty cute, and the team that worked on the project clearly had a lot of fun. This is like a can of soup that you'd present to your teddy bear if you're playing pretend lunch date. Not that a 43-year-old man would be caught doing something like that. And even when I opened the lens, one of my cat came sprinting over because she was convinced it was time to eat wet food. That's not a good sign either.
That's not a good sign.
Sorry, Sub-Zero, sister of Scorpion. I had to inform her that it was not. It was actually time for Daddy to eat solid soup for his job that eventually pays for the wet food. In terms of what's inside, each lodge is individually wrapped as promised, and for a mere $2.50, or $2.49 technically, more on how you can buy them in a bit, that price is fair for a novelty item. Provided it's good at least. So how did it taste? I unwrapped a Progresso soup drop to take a closer look at it, and also because that's what a human typically does before eating an individually wrapped treat. It was Thank you. It was an appetizing shade of light brown. I'm gonna fight back on that. It doesn't look that.
I'm gonna fight back
nice.
on that. Yeah.
It looks a little marbled. Like it looks like there's little dark spots in it, which I don't like.
Which is like the broth contents.
Yeah, but it keeps me like when I take a first look at it, I do think, oh, maybe there's a lemon one.
Yeah.
But then you would get in your mouth.
What a
and
nasty
like,
surprise! No.
So it had a shiny shellacked surface like a bowling ball. Upon popping the savory lozenge right into my mouth, I almost immediately ejected it. I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that.
Before sending out press kits, they should probably have someone just double check.
The soup drop had an instant, unappealing acridness to it. Sort of like artificial bacon flavoring, but without the fake smokiness.
Ew.
I held on for a few more seconds, and the initial shock and chemical overtone faded a little, giving way to a genuinely salty lozenge that had a distinct chicken bouillon flavor to it. I had to hand it to Progresso. The company didn't hold back on that part because it did mostly taste like chicken soup with the same infrastructure as a regular hard candy, except the sweetness played a very tiny role in all of this. The main ingredient in these drops is isomalt, which is a type of sugar substitute that's made from sugar alcohol. So it's not actually sugar. That means it's keto-friendly ingredient, if you could believe it. What's interesting is that isomalt's not as sweet as regular sugar, but creates the same kind of glassy vehicle that sugar would in hard candy. So they basically found a sugar substitute to make it a hard candy, because hard candy is just hardened sugar.
Right.
The drops also contain monosodium glutamate, actual chicken meat powder, natural and artificial flavor, chicken fat, and all sorts of flavor enhancers I probably don't want to think about. This soup drop would be pretty interesting if it weren't for that awful artificial meat flavoring and tastes like sulfur.
Tastes like sulfur is just not a good line. Like, you don't want to hear that.
Not good. So basically, as part of the media kit, Progresso sent along a can of its actual chicken noodle soup.
Okay, so you can side by side compare. Yeah,
this is what he's doing, and he's just desperate to get the aftertaste of the soup drop out of my mouth, which I ate in its entirety. I thought I'd see how the drop's flavor was compared to its inspiration. The answer is they're not much alike at all. Progresso's actual soup version is a lot more delicate and doesn't clobber you over the head with its flavor and density. The wallop in flavor from the drop makes sense, since they're meant to have a concentrated soupness to them, but the drops simply have a much different profile than the soup. And nowhere in the canned soup version is there a hint of that rough artificial flavoring. If you're not feeling well, just eat soup, everyone.
Seriously. That's the takeaway was, why were you messing with it?
Yeah, and you know what? That is basically the end of it, but you can have a good laugh. It literally says, I guarantee people will try them, you'll have a good laugh about it, and they'll probably be gone in an instant.
Yeah.
So, or more likely, you'll end up throwing them anyway.
You'll throw away, yeah. You'll try one and you'll be like, why did I do this to myself?
They're cheap, though, but that was... I read that, and I'm like, who is this for?
Who is it for? For soup sickos.
I've never... Once again, Willy Wonka would get to this after a while. This is not his first stop.
No,
this is stop 12, 20, 25. Like, it would not be, he would go to all the normal things and he'd be like, how about some nasty soup drops? Like, I don't think so.
No one's going to love these. That'll teach the kids.
Nope. But you know what? I probably will love your next segment.
My next segment is, it's time for some hypotheticals, Will.
Ooh, I'm ready.
You and I, we've bonded over hypotheticals. We love a good hypothetical.
Love it.
So I've composed a few for you. It's coming from Reddit this time around. Sometimes they come from my brain. This time they're coming from Reddit. Okay. Some of them. So we're gonna do 3, increasing in kind of a sequence ordered.
In toughness, is it gonna get tougher as it goes?
Yes, it will. The first one. I like this one a lot. I think it's hilarious. You can have $1,000, but you must do a generic day of errands dressed like a bumblebee.
So this is a one-off. This is not one of those repeating ones. I got $1,000, but I have to be that character from The Simpsons. So
here's yes, exactly. Here's the fine print. Bumblebee costume provided. No helmet, just a mascot like costume for the torso and antennas on your head like Mickey Mouse ears.
No helmet. That implies that I'm going to get in danger.
No helmet. You got to bring your own. Don't worry about driving like that. You'll have a driver. Don't worry about expenses. Credit card will be provided, but you'll be charged personally if you use it for anything you're not supposed to. You must go grocery shopping for 20 specified generic items. It won't be ultra specific. Maybe things like milk, 6 apples, taco seasoning. Anything you have to bag counts as one item. You must go to the post office and mail a package at the counter. Package will be provided and contents legal. You must go to a fast food restaurant and order something for dinner. You don't have to eat there, but you do have to go inside to order. And you must, and every time someone asks about your costume / why you're dressed as a bumblebee, you must say, why, I am a bumblebee, silly, buzz, buzz, buzz.
Now, that's one of those things where you could maybe lampshade that by going, I am a bumblebee. Like, you can like get them in on the joke as well.
I think you have to just power through the first time you say it, and it is awkward. And then afterwards, you're like, I'm a god. No one can touch me.
I'm a bumblebee.
I am a bumblebee. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I fully believe it.
Now, this is one of those times that I feel like you're either asking the worst person or the best person for this, because, Theo, I'm into it. I would do it.
I'm into it. And someone's paying me?
And someone's paying? Yeah. I would do it for free. No, I'm already somebody that I feel like this would not bother me all that much, because I would make it a bit in my own head. And also, people are more forgiving than you think about things like this. Like, which is weird to say, but I feel like people would just kind of look at you and go, maybe he's a mascot. You know what I mean? Like, they would just kind of fill in the blank themselves until they asked me about it. And then I go, what do you mean? I am a bee. Buzz, buzz, buzz. They go, oh. And then they walk away slowly. And
they
then
walk
I
away
don't
slowly
have to talk to them.
because all you have to do is out crazy somebody.
That's what people don't really
it's just
think about.
out crazy them.
You just got to out crazy. I do think about that. I don't think it would be a good defense strategy, but I have thought about that as a defense strategy of getting mugged or something, where you just like,
you're trapped in here with me.
Yeah, just like freak out, start saying random shit of like, do you see the bats? Do you see like, and they're like, what?
What?
You're trapped in here with me, buddy.
One of the commenters, out of curiosity, do you live in a small town? I often wonder that about people who post about money in exchange for mildly embarrassing things. I live in a city. Literally no one would be fazed by someone doing this. They wouldn't even pay attention. Maybe the Trader Joe's cashier would ask if you were going to a party. And someone responds, seriously, this is just a Tuesday in New York City. Which is really fair.
It's true.
Really
yeah, that's
fair.
true, actually. I would take this in a heartbeat because I think it's not that bad. $1,000 not that much, but like for a good day's work, you know what?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Another commenter says, I teach elementary school. I've ended up doing stuff like this for no money after the work on dress-up days. Oh crap, I have to go to the bank and to gas up the car and I'm dressed like a dinosaur. Oh well, $20 on pump 7 and a cashier's check, please.
Yeah, this is an easy one. Absolutely, yes.
All right, question number 2. You can have any superpower you want, but if any person ever finds out you have it, you die immediately. Which one do you pick?
I have thought about this. I have thought people, because like comic book characters, let's establish this there, because I've seen so many arguments online of like who would beat who, and the answer is always whoever the writer wants to win, because the power sets are just like the Flash has been tripped by a banana at some point, and then other times he's like cased an entire building in 1 second, and it's like, oh, okay, what happened to like you didn't case the banana that one time, like so
sometimes Scarlet Witch can change all of reality, other times she's just a lady,
she's stopped by a guy with feet, like just kicks her, like, and you're like, oh wow, this is okay, cool. I have thought though one of the more underrated powers that nobody really talks about, time manipulation. Because then I would be the Flash, because I would be comparatively the Flash to everybody else who is stopped. I could just get anywhere.
You could just go anywhere you want.
I could go anywhere I can want. I could just walk that way, as long as I don't age. That's also like,
that's the thing. Like if you pause time so you can get across the ocean, then like, okay, you can do that, but it's going to take you a while, and then you're older when you get there.
Yeah, now I'm 10 years older. Shit, like that's not very good. But I've thought, because then you get super speed. Nobody can ever like, if somebody tries to get you, you just stop time. Like there's so many different ways you could do it. But that's another thing that, thinking of the Flash, they have the Speed Force as a catch-all for why doesn't he break all of the bones in his arm when he tries to punch somebody at super speed? Like, and so they go, hey, he has the Speed Force. Like if I had the Speed Force also, like if I try to punch somebody and I break all my bones, that's also not a good superpower. But I do think time manipulation is a really underrated superpower that I'd probably pick.
I think you could get away with the superpower of indestructibility pretty easily, because basically you could just know that, like, it would just be peace of mind. It's like no matter what happens to me, I'll be fine, but I'll just go about living my life. I'm not going to go and be an MMA fighter and like go do like BMX riding. Like if I just live my regular life and I'm like, cool, I don't have to worry about hospital bills ever again. Great.
Here's the thing, that is dependent on luck, because if you get into 3 car accidents in a row and you haven't done a single scratch, then I think people might be like,
Yeah, I mean, if you were like in a plane crash, you'd have to like walk away and be like, I was never here.
Oh, I think you're good. I think that there's a villain in Jessica Jones that had a power of like influencing
Luke Cage,
people.
right?
No, Luke Cage.
No.
He also has an interesting power because he's just indestructible. Like his
exactly.
skin
That's right.
That would be pretty good. But no, the Purple Man, he could just control people's minds if they were just close to him, and then like over time, he just got so powerful that like almost the entire city was under his control.
You could do that, and you could just send out a signal being like, you don't think anything different about me. Yeah,
exactly. So you could, that would be a pretty sick one too. Because at the core of this is, would you rather live brighter but maybe a little bit faster? Or would you like a normal life and not have the threat of death? And baby, I'm going for those superpowers. I'm not going to live the life of a schmuck.
You're saying, if you could change your fate would
you? But even if I get caught, I took that risk. And I think that is one of those things that it's one of those risks you got to take. Because it would just be so fucking cool.
It would be so
cool.
It would be really cool. Of course you try it. You just pick something mundane. Or
yeah, that's also
easier
true.
Easier to cloak.
Yeah, you could do all those things.
I think also,
the
the skill, basically like Taskmaster, basically being able to see something and like replicate it. I think people would just be like, that's really cool. Like they think of it more of as a party trick than like a legitimate superpower, I think.
If I could, the problem with like being super smart, because that's another one I just thought of. is every smart person I know has like super depression. So I would also get the power
super
of depression.
awareness of how much the world sucks. Yeah, that's
so I think that would maybe not
together.
be bad, but I could see that also being good of just like, because once, as we see in our current fucking political climate, if you're powerful enough, you could just kind of do whatever you want. Like,
all right, last one. You ready?
Yep.
In exchange for $1 billion, you are to be stuck in a time loop fighting prime Mike Tyson, and the only way to leave is to win.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. This is actually
the rules.
very
Here are the
interesting.
rules. For every loss/knockout, you retain your memories. Your body gets stronger every time loop iteration. Yes, the pain is certainly real. The recovery back to 100%. You recover back to 100% health every time loop, and you cannot leave unless you win.
Here's the thing. He has so much power. He's one of the MVPs.
Greatest of all, one of the goats.
Yeah, one of the goats. I do think that he would probably knock me out most of the time. If I just got to get one, though,
you just
for
got,
$1 billion.
You just got to get one.
People do this in the amateur league. They get their lights knocked out every single fucking night, and they don't get the money. Like similar to the guy, that elementary school teacher.
You know that if you get knocked out, it is pain, but you're getting
temporary.
You're getting back to full health right after, right?
I think I would do it. I think I could maybe outsmart him. I don't think I could out technique him. I think I could do something like creative though that would throw him, because it is within. I can't like do the Three Stooges, get his eyes. Like I think the judges would be like, no. Like I would have to win in a fair fight. But I think after a while, if I'm getting stronger every time, I'm already like kind of a strong guy. So it's like I could maybe do that.
It's a longer road for me. It's definitely a longer road for me.
That's a long ass road. I still think it's worth it though, even if you, because it's like you're not
$1 billion.
And I thought it was going to be like every single time you lose, it knocks off like $1 million or something like that.
No,
but it's the same amount. It's the
same amount,
whatever.
but it's like Groundhog Day. But you know that at the end of the day, you have to fight Mike Tyson.
You got to get beat
wake
up by
every
Tyson.
morning, and you have to know that at the end of the day, you got to get in that ring.
Not all those matches are going to be equal, though. There's going to be a few at the beginning where I go, I think I could take boom, and then lights out. Next day,
I think that at the beginning, you will stand so little of a chance that you will be out before you know what happened. And that's actually okay.
That's nice, actually.
Because like you just see
once
the punch
you start
coming
lasting
and then
a while, that's when it gets bad.
The middle part is the worst.
Oh, 100%. Where you're getting body shots and shit, and then he gets you like he does a full Mike Tyson's punch out like combo on you, and you're like, oh,
this is basically like saying like, would you live a roguelite for like $1 billion? Because like you're getting a little bit stronger every time you reset, you're learning, and the boss is like there, and you got to beat him to get out.
I would kind of do this even if it was like a roguelite of something dangerous. Like if it's even Indiana Jones, like spike traps and stuff where I could die but come back. Like that's a little bit harder though. I'm 100% into Mike Tyson. If I'm dying if I get stabbed, I don't want to feel what it's like to be impaled or whatever. Like I do think we might be being punched.
We might be discounting how unpleasant it is to get punched in the face over over and over.
But it's at least understandable. Like, I don't know. I think I would still maybe do it even if it was like lethal traps that I had to deal with. But I still got $1 billion at the end. I would maybe, because once you're done, you're done for life. Like that's pretty sick. Like,
and you've beaten you, and you can move on with your life. Be like, I beat Mike Tyson in a fight.
It took me $1 billion tries. But
it took me so many tries. I
eventually got there. Imagine you get to round 1 billion and he's like, hey, so I gotta just deal with an unknown guy? Okay, whatever. He's just probably, and then you're just massive.
Giga Chad,
yeah. He's like, he's like, oh fuck,
oh no,
and then it's reverse. That he's afraid of me. I'd actually enjoy that. Yeah, I'm all in on that. For
he's billion, in. We got you 3 out of 3 for this. This is beautiful. We got you living this wacky, crazy life.
I've accepted of a lot of things in my terrible life.
But you know what isn't hypothetical? Your next segment.
Oh, these very real Amazon erotica. Oh, we got to go to the top sellers on Amazon for the erotica book section. And I go in and I read the descriptions for all of you. And now we have the All I Wanted trilogy.
All I Wanted.
This is confusing because technically, I mean, that's the name I came up with it because all the names for these books is All I Wanted was blank. They call it the Bubble Babes. And it doesn't make any sense.
Bubble boy.
Bubble babes. Bubble babes. I do love the covers of these, but this is a trilogy by Petra Palerno. All I wanted was sushi, but I got abducted by aliens instead.
No, you got it.
Babes,
No,
number one.
stop it.
Opal is trying her best in the Midwest. This is that bad place to get sushi. Midwest? Absolutely
Don't
not.
get sushi there.
After the sudden death of her parents, everything comes to a crashing halt as she's abducted by aliens and forced to work as a human dancer for extraterrestrial enjoyment. Is this what you want, you sick objectifying Neptunians? Fuck you. A chance encounter with an alien prince while stuck in a traffic jam might just change the trajectory of Opal's new life in space. Now, this is a question I had when I was reading this. Space traffic jam? Because that feels like that shouldn't happen. Because
Feels
you
like
could go in any
you've
directions.
unlocked the third dimension of travel.
Yeah, so you go up. You're in a lane right now. I guess whatever. They're in a but I'm gonna see if I can send you the cover art for this, because I do like it. I think it's cool. No, I don't think I can. But this next one was, all I wanted was to become a scientist, but now I've got an alien boyfriend.
Oh man, you ever
Don't you hate it when that happens?
you ever do a Shape of Water by accident? You're just trying to study some microbes.
That's a movie that sneaks up on me every single time. I forget that Shape of Water exists, and then I go, Shape of Water exists.
Shape of Water.
This one's longer, though. They actually added more. And they do the thing where they go, okay, we're going to do the lady, and now we're going to do a little section from the guy. But this time it's from Grayeth. the alien. But we start with Jesse. Sometimes I think it would have been easier if I hadn't accepted the free shower at that hot alien's apartment.
The what? You don't get in.
There's a lot.
How many times have I said it? You don't get in an alien shower.
You say that so often.
I say it so often, and none of these people listen.
It is contextless every single time. You would just be like, hey, don't get in an alien shower.
I do feel like every time you go over to a friend's house and you sleep over and then you have a shower the next morning, every shower is just different enough that you're like, what are these controls?
What is it?
It's a spaceship in here.
when you try every single angle for the knob and you're like, what the fuck? And they're like, no, you pull it out and you're like, what? What? That makes sense. For the past few years, my life has kind of blown up. On Earth, I dedicated my entire existence to science, even if my peers dismissed me as a pretty face. But when I got abducted by aliens, I was forced to dance in a bubble for extraterrestrial enjoyment. I guess that's why they're the bubble babes.
They're the bubble babes. Okay,
they're in a big bubble boy tube, except it's not because of germs; it's because keep them trapped, I guess, and sexy. I can't get anyone to take me seriously, even in space. When I escaped by crashing my alien captor's bus, Grayeth saved me from drowning.
Your captor drives a bus? You were abducted by a bum. You were abducted by a straight up bum.
Sorry, I got to go to my shift at the MBTA. But Grayeth saved me from drowning and even offered me a place to stay. He keeps telling people I'm his mate, even though I keep telling him the human word for that, what we are, is roommates.
That's my mate. Yeah, it's my mate over there. You see? It's my mate.
He refuses to say it that way.
He's an Australian alien.
Stop it, though. Sometimes I can't.
I love that he's an alien because he's from Australia and he drives a bus and he refers to her as his mate. It's like, this is just a very normal story.
Or Jesse, how about you put another space kangaroo on the Barbie? We could have a great time. Sometimes I can't tell if he's being sarcastic or serious. And for my very literal neurodivergent brain, that's a big problem. Why is this a thing that is now infiltrating into even romantic books? Neurodivergent. Why does my main character need to be mentally ill? Can they just be like, why does it need to be like, also
relatable?
I have schizophrenia, but it's sexy schizophrenia. Like, what are we doing?
Shout out to my Australian alien boyfriend because I got depression, baby.
but speaking with Grayeth, I never expected to have to save Jessie, and I certainly never expected this strange human to be my mate. Her idea of fun would be to take apart my data pad only to see if she could put it back together again, which sounds like torture on me. have convinced her to stay in my apartment as what she calls a roommate. The mating bond won't let her leave, but humans can't even feel it. You can't feel the sexual tension.
Whoa.
I don't know how to keep things friendly when just the smell of her hair is enough to send me into a mating frenzy. That's always the point in these things that I know it's a whole, like, we're making fun of a romance thing for being romantic, but they're being like, listen, she doesn't even know that I've already trapped her. Like, it's like weird. I don't want to make her uncomfortable, but I can't keep fighting.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I can't keep fighting the pull of this bond. This little speckled human will be the death of me.
Little speckled human is very weird.
She's a redhead, so I guess they're saying that she's ginger. And this last one, all I wanted was a glass of vino, but an alien duke kidnapped me.
Oh man, and a glass of vino. I just was trying to wind down and watch Real Housewives. Come on.
Will an aquatic alien duke be able to reconcile the fact that his fated mate is a small, mouthy human woman who can't swim? Will that human be able to love him despite his scars and the fact that he's keeping her captive?
Oh,
Marta, the reality of being a mob boss's daughter is anything but glamorous. How did we get to mob boss from here? It's always like it's always a mob guy. It's like she could have been like the reality of being a mountain man's daughter. Like the same. Is anything but glamorous, despite what one might think. In the absence of true freedom, my only companion was my loyal dog, Bruno. When he passed, I felt like my life was hitting rock bottom. But when aliens abducted me from my pity party in a local wine bar, I realized how wrong I was. As if things couldn't get any worse, I woke up in an alien duke's closet, forced to rely on a giant alien pleasure toy as my only means of defense. All I know is that the gaudy duke can't stand me, and the feeling is mutual.
I love that aliens they've got apartments, they've got closets, they've got showers.
Traffic. There's traffic.
There's just normal guys out there.
This lady thinks alien names just have a hyphen, or not even hyphen, just a little like accent mark.
Like accent, yeah.
It's rough air.
Pulling out the Finnish keyboard, are you? Ooh.
But rough ear, I guess.
Though my dukedom, I've dedicated myself to restoring the feline species to their natural aquatic habitats. How in the goddess's name am I supposed to do that when this human is my mate? Despite her mouthiness, the tiny human cannot swim. Did that stop me from stealing her cryopod from the crash ship and locking it in my closet? Absolutely not. I also didn't expect her to wake up and demand answers either. What is she? What a bitch. She wants answers? I can't believe. But I can't expect my people to look at me to lead if a human stands beside me, despite how much my body burns for hers. The dilemma arises, should I prioritize the goddess's wishes or grant her the freedom she deserves, joining the other human refugees?
I grant you clemency to live in my closet.
Would you rather be my sex slave, or would you rather be in a human refugee camp that is approximately the size of a Denny's bathroom?
Not great.
Not a great guy.
Not a great one.
They also specified, this is the only time that they've ever specified, this book features a 5'2" plus size Italian-American female. Like, I've never had to be like, here's her height, here's her dimensions, here's her nationality, her ethnicity. Like,
and a 7'6" aquatic alien duke.
That's Shape of Water.
That is Shape of Water. But you know what? This isn't the continuation of this podcast. We're at the end. We're at the end, baby.
That's it.
That's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of the podcast. Remember, if you have any segments that you want to send to us, send it to segmentcitypodcast@gmail.com. Hit up our YouTube for full episodes. Hit up my YouTube, Golly Gee Willikers, where you can see reviews and true life tales that are fun like this podcast is. It's kind of like extended segments, if we're being honest. Mm-hmm. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, consider giving us a star rating or a review on your podcast network of choice. But we have a big thank you to give to somebody in particular.
Thank you to Rachel Robinson. She does our intro music, and she has music you can find on your streaming platform of choice. And some say that she's a 7'6" aquatic duchess.
Alien
and
duchess.
There's nothing weird about that. It's totally normal. No closets, no weird traffic. It's fine.
Imagine if she actually was like, I have something to reveal to you guys.
My final form.
Takes off a mask and then she grows like she was really 7'6".
Whoa.
But
And
now
I'm going to end us
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
on iwaspoison.com. Of course, the crowdsource platform on which people report their own gastric distress.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we're going to go out on. This was from Panera Bread, 8803 West 75th Street in Overland Park, Kansas.
Oh.
I ordered a sandwich. It came out wrong. Lady gave me a new one, and now I have food poisoning.
This is, hey, interesting thing. For a moment, I thought I was food poisoned this weekend because I had a sensation that I have never had before that people describe in these I was poisoned of having to vomit and shit at the same time.
Yeah,
which I've
I can't
never
imagine.
had that. I've never had that feeling before of having the thought of, well, which side?
It's going out. It's going one way or the other. There's a picture attached to this post, and it's the sandwich. It's the sandwich, and there is one commenter, and he says, "That's an embarrassing sandwich."
It's a bad sandwich, even. That's humiliating. You got food poison from a bad looking sandwich.
Oh,
That's
That's an embarrassing. No, we don't want to see that.
A bad Panera sandwich from Kansas.
We don't want to hear that.
Oof, don't want to hear it. But you know what? We don't want to listen to anymore. Ourselves talking